Welcome to A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, Lesson 80. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. If you are willing to recognize your problems, you will recognize that you have no problems. I have to pause and say, I remember the first time I read that, I was like, I have so many problems. How could this possibly be true? It's true. I can tell you, having come out the other end of that dark tunnel, it's true. Your one central problem has been answered, and you have no other. Therefore, you must be at peace. Salvation thus depends on recognizing this one problem and understanding that it has been solved. One problem, one solution. I'm going to pause and say, ego does not want anything to be this simple. Ego wants it to become convoluted and difficult and scary and hard because that will justify its continued existence. Its illusory existence. Salvation is accomplished. Freedom from conflict has been given you. Accept that fact and you are ready to take your rightful place in God's plan for salvation. Your only problem has been solved. Repeat this over and over to yourself today with gratitude and conviction. You have recognized your only problem, opening the way for the Holy Spirit to give you God's answer. You have laid deception aside and seen the light of truth. You have accepted salvation for yourself by bringing the problem to the answer. Remember, ego wants to keep the problem and the answer separate, and it wants you to look and not find. You have accepted salvation for yourself by bringing the problem to the answer, and you can recognize the answer because the problem has been identified. You are entitled to peace today. A problem that has been resolved cannot trouble you. Only be certain you do not forget that all problems are the same. Their many forms will not deceive you while you remember this. One problem, one solution. Accept the peace this simple statement brings. In our longer practice periods today, we will claim the peace that must be ours when the problem and the answer have been brought together. The problem must be gone because God's answer cannot fail. Having recognized one, you have recognized the other. The solution is inherent in the problem. You are answered and have accepted the answer. You are saved. Now let the peace that your acceptance brings be given you. Close your eyes and receive your reward. Recognize that your problems have been solved. Recognize that you are out of conflict, free and at peace. Above all, remember that you have one problem and that the problem has one solution. It is in this that the simplicity of salvation lies. It is because of this that it is guaranteed to work. Assure yourself often today that your problems have been solved. Repeat the idea with deep conviction as frequently as possible, and be particularly sure to apply the idea for today to any specific problem that may arise. Say quickly, let me recognize this problem has been solved. Let us be determined not to collect grievances today. Let us be determined to be free of problems that do not exist. The means is simple honesty. Do not deceive yourself about what the problem is, and you must recognize it has been solved. What a beautiful lesson. So whenever any problem, any perceived problem arises, say quickly to yourself, out loud if you can, but in your mind is fine if you're around other people. Let me recognize this problem has been solved. The Holy Spirit doesn't want you rolling around in the mud anymore. It's optional. Suffering is optional for you. Ego doesn't want you to think it's optional. It wants you to think it's an unavoidable consequence of being alive. Let me recognize this problem has been solved. I'm so grateful you're here with me. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow for the beginning of our review period, where we will review lessons 81 And over the course of the next several days, we will do a review all the way through lesson 51 through lesson 100. So we're gonna, over the next few days, just do a quick review, touching on everything, and this will really help us look at the thought system of A Course in Miracles. The review periods really help us see it more holistically and how the pieces fit together in one really beautiful whole. And for anything that we need to be reminded of, that we may have lost track of, the review period is an opportunity for that to come back to our awareness and to really support us in this process. So I will see you tomorrow and we will begin our review. And I'll see you then.